In the Apothecary Diaries, there's this one character called Lakan. You see, Lakan is Mao Mao, the main character's father, well, biological father, and at first comes off as this just cold, kinda cruel man who's willing to do whatever it takes to get what he wants. He's this strategical genius who becomes the main strategy for the Li Empire's army. At first, when we're introduced to him, we kind of see him in the light of that he's just this one guy who keeps going over to visit Jinshi and just annoy him. But as time goes on, we find out a little bit more. We find out that Mao Mao doesn't like him, but we don't know why. We get hints towards why, but never a real answer. At least not for a bit. But once we do get that answer, it hits pretty hard. You are constantly given this idea that he doesn't appreciate his daughter. He even tells Jinshi that he might take advantage of her, which is kinda crazy. But not long after, we actually find out that that's not at all the kind of person he is. You see, Lakan has this condition that makes it so that he can't see other people's faces. He sees them either as ghost stones, or in some rare occasions as shogi pieces. He can see the individual parts of a face, but he can't make the entire picture into one thing. But we don't find out about this until fairly late, and by that time, we've already grown to hate him. And when we find this out is when we also find out the truth about the story of Mao Mao and how she came to be. You see, Lakan fell in love with this courtesan, and the courtesan was the only person who had ever beaten him at board games. And so he found himself naturally drawn to her, and at one point he even realized that he could see her face. But one day Lakan is sent abroad, and whilst he thinks he'll be abroad for about 3 months, he ends up being abroad for 3 years. And during these 3 years, the courtesan that he fell in love with ends up having a child. His child, which is Mao Mao. We end up seeing how he tries to actually have some kind of relationship with Mao Mao, and everything he wants is to have a relationship with her. But at that point, Mao Mao already has an adoptive father and doesn't really care for him. And it doesn't help that every time he tries to collect Mao Mao from the brothel which her mother lived at, he gets chased away by a woman with a broom, which is, kind of scary. Old ladies with brooms, oh, horrifying. And when we find out that he is willing to even go as far as to smash in a gate for the sake of finding her when she ends up getting kidnapped, we find out that he actually cares quite a lot. But hey, what's your thoughts about Lakan? Feel free to tell me down in the comments below. And if you want to hear more about what I personally have to say about Lakan as well as many other characters in the Apothecary Diaries, feel free to watch my long form video on YouTube. And if you're already on YouTube Shorts, it's the related video, so you can just click on that. With that said,